Hello, welcome to my film review for Ong Bak 2 and 3. I did the original Ong Bak a little while ago, so you can go and watch that. 2 and 3 is a prequel to the first one, but it's set a long way in the past. It's got none of the same characters. The only thing that actually connects the second two films to the first film is the statue of Ong Bak, which is created in Ong Bak 3. So Ong Bak 2 on its own appears to have literally nothing to do with the original film at all, and which is a little bit confusing. And then in the third one you see the creation of the statue Ong Bak, and yeah, and that's how they're connected. Very tenuous link. It is a good film. It's a bit daft. I think 2 and 3 realistically could have been one film, because it is basically all one story, which is, I watched them together, which is why I'm reviewing them together. Because when Ong Bak 2 finishes, it's kind of like, it's not really much of a good conclusion to the film, so then it has number 3, which does tie it all up together nicely. If you like dialogue heavy films, then this is not for you. There's very little speech in it at all, which is quite good, because I was reading subtitles, because I don't understand a word of Thai. But very little dialogue. Everything's very visual. The storytelling is done through visual aids, and the whole thing is like that pretty much. A lot of fighting, many different styles of fighting, mostly Muay Thai boxing, as you see in the original Ong Bak film, but there's a few other things thrown in there as well, and you can see the development of the fighting scenes and the choreography and the way it's all put together. So that's nice to see the improvement. Though there was one scene, I can't remember if it was number 2 or number 3, and there's a lot of punches and it's very fast fighting, and all films they put in these artificial punch sounds, and I felt like the punch sounds weren't lining up with the hits. I don't know, it's just how I felt. Because punching someone doesn't make that noise. This always bugs me about just punching in general. I mean, you hear it a bit. I'm hitting myself, you can't see it on camera. I suppose you can hear it a little bit, but the way it sounds on camera, it is just nothing like that. And there was that one bit, and it kind of made me feel a bit disconnected. Also, the 2 and 3, there's slight elements of supernatural stuff in it. It's not like a huge deal, but it is there. And then like this guy gets cursed, and then his life is going to end horribly or whatever. And yeah, the storyline did feel a bit, not weak, just like why are they doing this? It felt like, to me, a bit like strange that the storyline was going in certain directions sometimes, and I couldn't quite work out their logic. But it was an enjoyable film, or films I should say, but I don't know why it was done into films. Maybe just to make money, I don't know. Tony Jaa did pretty much everything. On the end credits, his name's constantly popping up. It's like, he did this, he did that, he did this. So it's very much a Tony Jaa film. You know, and he seems to be a decent actor and a decent fighter, as I mentioned in the original Ong Bak review. As films go, I would rate Ong Bak 1 is a classic. It's an instant classic. It is a really good film, and as I said on that review, I highly recommend it. 2 and 3, they're okay. They do have some good fighting scenes. So if you just want it for the fights and the martial arts scenes, then yeah, that's good. Storyline is a bit, I don't know, it's weak. It just doesn't feel as convincing. As I say, they've thrown a few supernatural elements, and it's supposed to be in the same, you know, world as the original film, which was firmly set in our reality. So yeah, I'm doing this, but you can't see. I need to zoom my camera out a bit so you can see my hands' expressions, or you can see my shoulders. Look, you can't see my hands at all. Anyway, I'm going off topic. So yeah, I liked it, but I felt it wasn't as good as the original Ong Bak. I would have liked a better connection between 2 and 3 and the original, but apart from just a statue and maybe, I don't know, whether it was lost in translation or something, but you know, there may be some kind of hint that Tian from the original film, his name is Tian, isn't it? Did I just make that up? Hang on. Yeah, it's got the same name. I just had to double check. So Tony Jaa plays Tian in the original one, and he plays Tian in the 2 and 3, even though they're set hundreds of years apart. So I think there's some kind of hint that maybe he's like a reincarnation or something, and because they do kind of play on the idea that he's being cursed and he was bad in a previous life, which is why he's having such a shit time in 2 and 3, and so maybe it's the spirit is reincarnated or whatever. But again, that's a lot to go on really, and they don't make a huge deal out of that whole storyline. A lot of it is basically got good guys. I'm going to zoom out a bit. I'm doing all this with my arms and you can't see it. So you got your good guys and you got your bad guys, and they fight, and originally he's very hard in his fighting, and then he softens up. This is like in like a gazillion and one martial art films where, in able to defeat the bad guys, you have to soften up your style a bit and relax a bit more, and so yeah, that's nothing original there. That's been done. I've got countless kung fu and martial art films where they all have that. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd watch them again. They were a bit daft in places, but I say the original classic, instant hit, very recognisable, really good film. 2 and 3, they're alright. I enjoyed them, but they're not as good. Alright, bye.